Hello, and welcome to OurVentura TV. I'm MB Hanrahan, and today my guest, and as I always say, my friend, because I have lots of friends, is, I'm going to say your full name, SueAnne Gigi Ying, and she is at this time the executive director of Bell Arts Factory, as it sounds, a complex of studios on the west side of Ventura, on the avenue, actually. And I think it's been around since, I want to say 2003, 2004. Might be wrong about that. At any rate, Gigi, you're going to tell us a little bit, please, about Bell Arts and about, kind of how you came into being the executive director. And I will say, since this program will go on in perpetuity, that this is spring of 2021, and we in the United States and on the west coast of California are still in the throes of a worldwide pandemic and gratefully coming out of it a little bit, as we know today. All right. And after that, so Gigi, take it away.
Yes. So I got to this position only because I first started out as an artist renting a studio. And then the executive director, when I came on, was David Yoshi Tomi. And the general manager and the person who ran a lot of our arts programs is Maribel Hernandez. And I was the secretary of the board for a couple of years, I think, and I was making art, but I had a bicycle accident and fell and hit my head and was in a coma for a week and almost died. So that's why I talk a little slower, but I recovered somehow, even though I'm supposed to be dead. So I came back thinking, oh, I need to do something important with my life. So
Wow.
David said that he is about to have a baby. He needs to go. So can you do this? And I said, I don't know. What do you think? So he trained me to write grants, and I helped out for a couple of years. And I've been just starting to learn fundraising. So he said, "You take it. You're good to go." So I said, "Okay, I'll try."
Wow, that is quite a story. So thank you for that. And we had spoken before this interview, and one of the things that you told me was that as an executive director, what you really want, one of the things that you wanted to focus on through the fundraising was to create more inclusion on the west side and through Bell Arts. And that, and I just say that, of course, anybody can come to it, but that is kind of our area of influence, immediate influence, I'll say. So inclusion, talk to us a little bit about that. What does that mean to you, and how can we create that through, I'm assuming, art programs?
Well, I think the way we can incorporate this concept of inclusion in all the programming that we do and the what we project to the world is what we do is by remembering that our original intention was actually in community wellness. So the money that the Addison family gave to Josh Addison, the first executive director, was to buy this, not buy this building, but rather to use this building as a space to support art and community. And I think to really be a community organization, we need to be very inclusive. So the majority of the people in our neighborhood on the avenue, the west side of Ventura, is white and Hispanic. And so it makes sense that a lot of our programming is directed towards and also run by white people and brown people. But to be inclusive, however, we need to make sure that we welcome everyone in the community. So just across the street from us is Indian Rasoy, and they are Indian. So we can't just create programs for Hispanic Americans and white Americans, we should consider that they are also in our community. And the executive director before me was his father is Japanese American and his mother is a white woman. So he also comes from two cultures. So every single person comes from a lot of different backgrounds. And it doesn't mean that just because you are in the majority means that you get to say what we do. We want to be inclusive. So if you are a blind paraplegic, half Burmese, half Senegalese person who is intersex, we welcome you. Come and create your art, express yourself, show the world that you exist. So we want to do that.
Do you have a game plan?
Um,
Huge question.
yeah. The thing that I think would help us create more programs in perpetuity would be to create um, a feasible financial plan. So we want to, one, own this building. We want to buy this building as a nonprofit. So instead of paying rent, we want to raise enough money for a down payment on this building. And the owner estimates that to be somewhere in around $1 million. And so if we were paying off a mortgage, then at some point we would own the building and then we can use all the money coming in for programming and to support artists.
Okay, well, we all know, I mean, as an artist who has gotten grants and written a fair share of grants and such, is that sometimes there's so many there's so many people that are going for the same grants, and sometimes the grants change or dry up. Along with trying to get obviously funding for the building, what about these art programs that I'm assuming are still ongoing? I mean, we did come out of a pandemic, but I for sure saw, action, around the studio, little art packs being distributed out so that, Zoom art programs and such. And we know it's not going to stop. It's not going to stop. And things are loosening up. So we may see, an opening in the community spaces that we used to be able to inhabit and who we used to be able to invite in freely. So what are your thoughts about how these are, how are we going to keep running these art programs? Same thing.
Yeah, our youth art program has been funded by a grant from the California Arts Council for a few years, but this year they stopped offering that because of the pandemic. So they are offering a general operations grant. And how will we pay for our youth art teachers? Well, right now our choices are continuing to look for grants, but also fundraising. So we need to make it known that the two elementary schools in our neighborhood do not offer art classes. So
Right.
where do they go to get art class, to learn creative work? They come here. So, and how can we pay for art teachers? Well, this year, fundraising. So that's why this poster says support the arts. We need to provide the children in our neighborhood access to the arts, and not only children, either their families also. So we want to have classes. We want to support artists to put up their work in our galleries, in their hallways, so that when we open our doors, especially once the pandemic wraps up or comes to a close, we welcome the whole neighborhood, as Moses Morris says too, since the beginning, that we open our doors, the neighborhood comes in. If you have an idea for something with art, we will help you make it happen. So that's the goal.
Wow. Okay, so I would be remiss after all of this, I'm hoping, obviously, that people are contemplating, what resources they may have to give to Bell Arts in all kinds of ways, you know, volunteer services, who knows what's money, who knows? So how do we, how's the best way for the community to contact you?
Oh, well, we have a website, so www.bellartsfactory.org. And my email is gg@bellartsfactory.org. We also have an Instagram, Bell Arts Factory, and a Facebook page, Bell Arts Factory. So go to any of those, message any of us, and we will get back to you for sure. One thing we would like to start is a fundraising campaign where we only ask people to pay what they can, $2, $5, but be a subscriber and say, yeah, I'll give you $2 a month for the next year. And even things like that can help us a lot because it's regular. And once we can make sure that we can count on a few people for just a little bit each month, that can help us grow our organization.
As someone personally who, you know, I know what resources I have, and yet I contribute a lot to different organizations. I do. And, you know, volunteer and hard currency. And, you know, the money is one thing, but really what I am hearing you say is that people's sense of having skin in the game, as we say, having involvement, being truly a part of, not just, oh, here, you know, da 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 da, I send you this check, but that they feel some sort of sense of community ownership. There's a lot of changes going on the Avenue, and I feel that it's really actually an opportunity for us to up our game and, you know, to be self-supporting, truly self-supporting and self-determining. You know, we're
Yes.
surrounded by a senior center. We're surrounded by a boys and girls club. I'm not endorsing these places. I'm just saying, you know, there's many charity organizations. We see homelessness. We see lots of older people. I mean, the wealth of
Yeah.
humanity is here.
Yeah, it is. And in order to make sure that we become an even healthier nonprofit organization, we need to not take any more from the corpus of our endowment. I want to call it the Janet as an endowment fund for Bell Arts Factory, because she is the one who donated that amount of money to this organization. And when you have nonprofits around the world, big ones, they never cut into their endowment.
Very good. Yeah.
You don't do that because that's where you grow the money and you raise the money so that you don't have to touch it. And that's how
Exactly.
you grow. So we want to do that. We are trying to get to that point.
Is there anything I haven't covered? I mean, it sounds like your vision is big and your dream is big, and it sounds like also if someone handed you a big fat check today, you know what you'd spend it on or what you'd invest in. So,
And buying this building.
all right,
So
okay,
that
and
we can be independent and our dreams can continue growing and we can reach them.
great. Gigi, this has been great, and I'll definitely have to come back and we'll revisit this conversation, see what has happened. But in the meantime, I want to thank everybody for joining us today. This has been Our Ventura TV. I'm MB Hanrahan, and I will see you next time.